Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So every now and then I tend to do a video where, we take a look at XRP, the fundamentals, how XRP is going to be used in the new financial system, and kind of pontificate on, the different factors that are going to influence this. Going back to former videos too, right? Remembering what people like David Schwartz have said in the past. So I wanted to take the time today to take a look at another example here, guys, and I'm going to be introducing you to a crypto calculator. It's been out there for a while where you can plug in different factors with regards to the XRPL, how XRP is going to be utilized, and, considering we are now shifting into the new ISO 20022 standard, I think this was probably a very good time to reevaluate what is coming down the pipe. Now, I happen to see this from Sentosumo Saba on Twitter. 6 years ago, she says, David Schwartz was asked, mathematically speaking, what is the highest price Ripple or XRP could potentially get to? And I don't know if you guys remember this. If you were around back then, you probably do remember this. This is what David Schwartz said 6 years ago, okay? It all depends on how big you want to dream. If Ripple captures Bitcoin's current market share, well, then it could go to $2. Well, I think Bitcoin's current market share is, a bit of an underwhelming bar to reach, to be quite frank about it. What if Ripple captures the value of all high-friction international payments that are now occurring? Remember, this was David Schwartz saying this 6 years ago. $20, he says. You can add a multiplier to this for an additional demand from people holding XRP to make or facilitate the payments in the future. What if Ripple captures the value of an increasing volume of international payments driven by the reduction in friction? Maybe $120. Same point as above. You could justify a multiplier to this. So David Schwartz clearly does not think it's out of the question for XRP to get to $20 or even $120 per coin. Now again, is this going to happen tomorrow? Probably not. There definitely are different factors involved that would eventually get us up to this price. So, it got me thinking and it got me remembering about Phil D's calculator, the CryptoCalc that Phil D created based on Susan Athey and Robert Mitchnick's proposed XRP valuation paper. Now, if you guys don't remember what that is, the price valuation model for XRP by Susan Athey. This is coming from XRP_Crow here, an old tweet from September of 2020. And I believe that this model was actually calculated back in 2018. So, they were given a valuation of anything between $6.37 to $32.91. Again, this was, based on factors that we were looking at back in 2018. So you can see he just created an infographic here. So the low estimate, obviously the high estimate, the explanation, and you can go to his website to go see that full explanation there. Basically what he's referring to, though, is this paper, a fundamental valuation framework for crypto assets. Robert Mitchnick and Susan Athey did create this back in June of 2018. And so I will link this in the description of the video for you. Down here you can see, though, model application estimating fundamental value for Bitcoin and XRP. Down at page 11 here, and I haven't taken a look at this actually for quite a while, but you guys can see they write up an entire paper on this, essentially, kind of assuming where value could go based on transaction volume. Of course, at this time, remember, this was in 2018 when, some people still thought that Bitcoin was going to move large quantities of value for certain institutions. Today we look at these proclamations and we think to ourselves, boy, was that kind of naive, for us to think that Bitcoin was actually going to move that kind of value. Well, XRP, obviously, in a different scenario than Bitcoin, and, it has just proven to be the case time and time again that XRP is going to be part of a new financial system, but, not just that, not just a small part, a fairly large part, I'm assuming. It's going to take time to ramp up, but, at the end of the day, XRP taking over more payments, more cross-border remittances than what SWIFT does today, I think is not out of the question. Again, we're not going to see that, probably not all at once, but we will eventually see that coming down the pipe. That's just my opinion, and I will link this in the description for you guys, again, if you guys want to check this out. So I wanted to thank XRP_Crow, obviously Phil D, and Crypto Eddie just for mentioning that. Now, remember, guys, back in 2020, when Mr. B XRP told us about the meeting he had with David Schwartz when he met him at Swell 2019. Remember what Mr. B told us? If you guys don't remember, I did a video on this referencing the video I did from August 6, 2020. And if you guys do not remember, here is a refresher. And guys, here's something else I want to tell you. Now, this is an alleged comment from David Schwartz to Mr. B XRP. He mentions it in his video. So if you want to hear it from Mr. B himself, he does explain that at the Swell conference, Mr. B did talk to David Schwartz and asked him, essentially, are we going to see XRP price rise slowly, just kind of over time? Or are we going to see all these big players get into the market all at once and boom, we're going to see a high price of XRP essentially in the blink of an eye? And here is what, allegedly, David Schwartz did tell Mr. B XRP. Now, I trust Mr. B, so I'm going to take his word for this, that he isn't lying to us. Of course, he's got a channel as well. He's got a Twitter. If he were lying to us, that would ruin his credibility. Here's what he said David told him. He ultimately said this: the problem with the price of XRP going up slowly over time is that as soon as it hits 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. Well, you guys know, think about it. When we see the market rise by 5 or 10 cents every single hour, look at how excited the XRP community gets. And it fuels more buying, more people get into the market. And guys, ultimately, what happens is this, okay? What happens is, let me just bring it up here, this. One day XRP is trading at 22 cents. 3 weeks later, XRP is trading at all-time highs of $3 and change. Now, in order to preserve clients' confidence, this just can't happen. So David Schwartz suggested the problem with it rising slow and gradually is that it will be too much of a shock to clients. So ultimately what David was inferring is that XRP needs to shoot up essentially in the blink of an eye. And then at that point, Ripple must keep the price stable at 30, 40, 50, whatever Ripple thinks that optimal price needs to be in order to target those high value payments for their clients. Now, again, guys, I wasn't at Swell. This is coming from Mr. B. Again, I do trust him. He is a very valuable person in the XRP community. And this is what he said David told him. So I can only take it at face value, guys. Again, I will link his video in the description if you want to watch Mr. B's video. So some interesting insight here from Mr. B and his conversation, the conversation that he had with David Schwartz, all the way back at Swell 2019 when they were still doing Swells in person before the beer flu lockdown. I know they have recently started doing that again. I believe this was the Swell event that was actually in Singapore. But to the point at hand, XRP has to go up, essentially has to go up in the blink of an eye because, you know, as I mentioned, FOMO would in fact kick in and, you know, we would see the same thing that we saw back in 2017 when XRP was, you know, initially trading at about 22, 23 cents. And then, you know, all of a sudden we saw a bit of a price spike. FOMO kicked in and XRP went up by 1,300% in about 3 weeks' time. So, you know, this is a classic example of, you know, FOMO, people realizing the price is rallying, people wanting to jump on board the FOMO train. And, you know, essentially David Schwartz is saying we just can't have this. And so in that video as well, I did talk a little bit about Ripple, the programmatic sales and how they were, you know, buying back XRP. And, you know, the theory goes as such. They're doing it to keep the market stable. I will link this video in the top right-hand corner of the video if you guys want to watch the full thing. So how is the value of XRP going to rise in 2013? Guys, I introduce you to CryptoCalc XRP here. Again, Phil D's invention. In 2018, the original year of the report, only Ripple use cases were taken into account. Many things have changed since then. For example, so, you know, there's been a lot more development on the XRPL. The Flare network, Sologenic, and Coil are some examples. Now, you know, since this has been updated, Coil has in fact decided to sunset their operations. Nevertheless, these are just a few of the multitude of different use cases now being developed on the XRP ledger. So he says that's why I adapted some parameters to provide you more accurate values for all types of scenarios you can choose from. And so as you guys can see here, you can choose from low, high, and even $589. At what point would we get to a price of $589? You can choose if you are a newbie or not. And so I'm just going to keep it on newbie for now. He basically, if you unclick newbie, they give you more fields here that you can choose from that you can play with. But basically, you can input your own values. And that is what we are going to do today, guys. So just taking a look at some of these valuations, max transaction volume per year. And so how many transactions are we going to see per day? As you guys can see here, how much money businesses will play with. The maximum transaction value per day in the world the token use case can be addressed with when the market will mature. And so that would be the steady state. It should be a portion of all the markets taken into account, like foreign exchange trading, corporate payments, retail remittances, loans, derivatives markets, and potential unexisting markets that will be enabled by the blockchain technology. Now, you know, this addresses a huge portion of moving all the money, even if we were to just stay conservative, okay? And so this is the world stock exchanges around the world, okay? And these numbers were even taken quite a while ago, from 2016. And even back in 2016, you guys can see the world stock exchanges equated to about $69 trillion. This was done in February 2016, and even if I just show you guys the DJI, so the Dow Jones Industrial Average, back in February 2016, so this is just giving you maybe a snapshot of what the markets could have been globally. You can see we were down here, and even though we have seen large market fluctuations like during the beer flu, and even more recently now, the market still has gone up more than almost 100%, 90% since 2016. So, I mean, even if we were to just stay conservative, $69 trillion just for markets, okay, this is not even considering other markets. So we've got 69 trillion, and then we divide that by 365 days a year. We're looking at about 0.19, which is exactly the number he has preloaded here in this chart. So that's interesting to note, okay? So again, this is not taking into consideration other types of transactions. If we were to just look at all the world's money and markets in one visualization, I don't know if you guys remember this one. This has actually been updated as of 2022, and we have Sam Bankman-Fried's peak net worth up here, along with many other factors. So this is just giving you a sense of what all the money in the world is, and transactions happening daily. Again, we were just talking about stock markets and the value of the world's stock markets in that first example. But when we take into consideration global real estate, for example, or global wealth, or many other factors like derivatives, the market value and the notional value of derivatives, we can see that 0.19 trillion, as per this, is a pretty small number. Because let's not forget, even as per this chart, we have to take into consideration foreign exchange trading, corporate payments, retail remittances, loans, derivatives markets, and potential unexisting markets. So everything that will run on the XRP ledger in the future, all the potentials, right? So we got to expand our minds. So, even if I were to make this 0.5, I think that is fairly conservative considering. Let's even just take a look at this, what to expect from the payments landscape in 2025 and beyond. So, this was written, I don't know when this was originally written, but, they're kind of, May 2022, so fairly recently. They're looking at the future for cross-border payments. Even in this article, they're saying, in 2022, global cross-border payments volumes are predicted to reach $156 trillion. So even larger than all the stock markets in the world. So I think, putting this at 0.5, I mean, we can probably put it upwards towards 0.8 or 0.9 even. And I think even that would be fairly conservative. We are really addressing kind of all the applications, and especially since Ripple has been looking to utilize XRP for cross-border payments, that was kind of their first main use case. It kind of makes sense to put this number upwards of 0.5 trillion in a day. I'm just bringing up these examples just to show you guys that I'm not picking these numbers out of thin air here. Now, let's take a look at how much the market will grow each year. And so even just doing a quick Google search here, middle markets remain at just over 12%, well above the pre-pandemic average. 4 out of 5 companies increased revenues in 2022. So again, these are numbers based on middle markets. What is the US industry growth rate? Well, it says here 1.6. Year on year, but we're looking at global markets too, and we're not just looking at middle markets, we're looking at everything, following an increase of 2.2 year over year the month previous. So this is giving us a month by month breakdown. What is the industry growth rate? What is the market growth rate? So just giving us some more factors here. This is just giving us a bit of a definition. Is 5% a good growth rate? Here it says a good growth rate is considered to be 5 to 7% per week of revenues. While an exceptional growth rate is 10% per week, we can assume 7 to 10%, somewhere in there. And, if we were to take an average, I think Phil's already calculated this at, what has he calculated out? Market growth rate at 8.5%. So I'm kind of jumping ahead here. I'm going to address gold market share in a second, but market growth rate here. Let's also take a look at the valuation. So this valuation model takes into account 2021 because this is when he created the calculator. I'll put 2023 in here. And the steady state, I mean, based on Agenda 2030 and, the powers that be in their outlook to kind of finally execute the Great Reset, I think 2030 is a good marker here. This is the steady state year when the market will be mature for the token. This is the year used in the report to make extrapolations for max transaction value, or Y, max market share, locked supply, etc. Now, we also have to look at locked supply of XRP. Let's take a look at XRP here right now, circulating supply at 50 billion XRP. We know the max supply is 100 billion. So, we got to assume in the future, as more XRP is released from escrow, we might have 70 billion in the ecosystem, which would leave 30 billion locked up. So a fair valuation here. And these colored fields, they are already predetermined. So let's go back to gold market share. What portion of all the gold in the world, pick a number between 1 and 100, the percentage the token will take from the maximum market value. So gold is an interesting factor here that we must consider because, as we know, BRICS countries are mulling the formation of a single gold trade system. So this is new news. This was actually published in 2017, but more recently we've heard of the BRICS countries, Russia, China, India especially. These guys are working together to create a new financial system, a replacement for SWIFT. And not only that, they're looking to create a new world reserve currency based and backed by gold, maybe gold and other commodities. So then it got me thinking, if the world is going this way and if we're going to see, the BRICS countries take a bigger chunk out of the pie, how much of the world's GDP is actually made up by the BRICS countries? So, in terms of this study here, and of course, this is not these are not current figures. It says here, let's just see when this was released here. I don't know if there's a date here. Nevertheless, I doubt this is completely up to date as per 2023. But here it says, together, the 4 original BRICS countries comprise of more than 2.8 billion people, or 40% of the world's population, cover more than a quarter of the world's land area over 3 continents, and account for more than 25% of global GDP. Now, 25% at that point, I think we're going to see that explode. And when we see that explode, let's think, guys, China, Russia, India, let's think of all the exports. Let's think of them moving to a new gold reserve currency. So, I'm thinking 5%, that will likely go up. I think 20% is probably not unlikely. But again, these are just estimates based on the information that I'm finding. So, at the end of the day, what could the price of XRP truly be? Once all is said and done and we hit calculate, by these estimates, we're looking at a future value of XRP for about $35.71. Now, again, this is going to continue climbing. And again, we don't actually have accurate information. We're just kind of estimating here based on where the world is going. And, based on how fast this is going, this could happen sooner rather than later. This could take longer, just depending on where the world is at. But I thought it would be interesting to kind of address this, guys, in a high scenario. As per Phil's calculations here, clicking on high, you can see max transaction volume. Wow, we were pretty close there, 0.56 transactions. He was assuming the gold share would be at 30%. With 30 billion locked in escrow, we're looking at an XRP price of $128.21. So boom goes the dynamite, David Schwartz. I think you are on track. $120, not out of the question, certainly, as per the crypto calculator, based on the Susan Athey and Robert Mitchnick model. And just for fun, guys, where would we have to be to hit 589? $3 trillion in transactions daily. The gold market share would obviously have to be upwards of very, very close to 50%. We would have more locked supply, so that would have to change. $589 with a market growth rate of 15%. I don't doubt that we could see it one day, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.